Hello, you all out there. Welcome to Naija Knows. Welcome back to Naija Knows. We got another episode for you coming at you hot off the press. How they say that? Hot and fresh? Hot
Yeah,
and
hot
ready.
and
Like the
ready.
Little Caesars. There we go. Hot and ready. I am your girl, Nick Cat, and we have,
EAG Day.
Alicia.
and as you can see, Miss Tori is not here. She is not well, not feeling well, so she'll be with us next time. But you do see another face on here that you haven't seen before. And this is Mr. Terrence Lewis. He is our resident therapist. He know a lot. And listen, y'all know I don't be talking to people like that. I don't open up to people. He's one of the very few people that can say, "What's wrong?" And then I immediately start crying. So he's very good at what he does. Um, and he's going to be talking with us today. We have a very interesting topic, one that I've seen a lot of videos about women being feminine or too masculine or feminine around quote unquote real men or masculine men and so on. I'm going to play a video that kind of sparked the conversation, between us, and we'll talk about it.
Like women around men. Let me repeat this. Women act like women around men. So if you're dealing with women that are too masculine, too rude, too manly, like too take charge-ish, that means that they don't consider you a real man. A real man brings the woman out of a woman. She can't even help it but be feminine, but be a damsel in distress around a man. Please fix that. Please get that for me. A real man brings the lady out of a woman. It just is what it is. And the issue is you men don't know how to lead. You do not know how to direct traffic. You do not know how to guide. You do not know how to take charge. It's not about money. It's not about a bag. It's not about your sex. It's the fact that she feels the alpha man's presence and energy when she's around him. She knows for a fact that she can't play with him. She can sense that he's a protector, a provider, that he is going to nurture, build, and grow with her. That's where y'all got it fucked up. You're listening to these podcast dudes come down and tell you, oh, if you don't have this amount of money and if you don't have that, it's plenty of chicks out here dealing with niggas that can't match their paycheck by a long shot, but they love them and respect them because they know that they have a fucking man in their presence.
All right. Well,
Well,
he said a lot. I don't know. What are you guys' initial thoughts usually?
Um, I think that there has to be balance. I agree with some of the things that he's saying, but I don't totally agree. I think part of it is if we're being honest, we as women, sometimes women are used to doing so much on their own when they have someone that comes into their life that's saying, you know what, I'm here to take that load off of you. They want to wear the pants and wear the dress at the same time. And then the man kind of finds the struggle of trying to be in the space where he deserves to be and desires to be. So I think that sometimes it needs to be that balance, and we need to acknowledge when we do see a good man come in our life to say, you know what? I need to let my man be the man in this relationship. There's a lot of things that my husband does for me that I can do on my own. I can wash my car. I can take out the trash. But if he's going to say, hey, babe, I took out the trash, I'm sitting there, thank you so much. I know I can do it, but let him shine where he needs to shine. And I think sometimes that's where the issue is. It's not that a lot of women aren't meeting the men that are alpha males or men that step into the role of what we see as ideal roles for men and women to stand in. I think it's sometimes we kind of get so hard based on our past traumas that when it happens, it's that struggle. That's where I see it personally.
I want to
absolutely.
give a clap for you. I feel like that was a good answer. A rounded answer.
Thank you.
Yes. Felicia.
It's crazy because me and my partner just had a conversation about this yesterday, and it's the dynamic is different because now you're dealing with two women versus two men. And she made a comment that I'm super independent. I'm like, I had no choice but to be. I've never been put in a situation where I could just put my hands up. So, oh babe, I got it. Oh, but I got it because I've always had to have it. So it's not that women we don't want to always have it, but the right person has to come along and show that they have us and
Mhm.
that they can handle, whatever it is that we need.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with both of you. I'm, like you, Felicia, I can't think of a time outside of maybe being raised by my parents, when I couldn't care for myself, that I was just like a damsel in distress and just need a man to come, and not that I need it. And I've, I'm not in a relationship, but I have had, relationships, and it wasn't all bad. Like I definitely was with someone that took care of stuff. If I came to his house, he made sure I had gas money. He made sure I ate, paid bills for me. Like I've had all that before, and allowed him to do that. Of course, if it come to paying bills, yeah, sure, pay the bill, it's fine. But I can't think of a time where I was just like, I could relax enough to even let a man do that, because it's plus me. I'm a control freak. I just am. So even if I let you do it, I'm still watching to make sure you do it right. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes that has been a struggle in relationships with me is, oh, I've been told like you act like a man, or, you got too much of this or whatever. It's just like, well, I want to relax. I feel like that movie Waiting to Exhale, in that first scene, Whitney Houston, although the guy turns out was trash, but she's like, I exhaled. Like, I feel like that's a real thing. And I've never like truly felt that. So I don't know if it's like just because it was the man, or just because I'm a control freak and don't want to relinquish control over certain things. So I mean, I kind of see both sides. I don't, like you usually, I don't necessarily agree with everything he said. But I guess if and when it happens, especially at this age, like, yeah, go ahead. I don't mind sitting down. Like I will gladly sit down and do nothing. Okay, Terrence, you the expert. You're the family, relationship therapist. You have maybe some more insight, or at least can guide us as to like what, I won't say what we should think, but how we can look at this.
Context is important. Environmental factors, what they saw growing up is important. If the person grew up male or female, if you grew up in a single parent home, you have a different dynamic than someone who has both parents in the house, and also how they were raised. So the expectation of what a man is or what a woman is different from person to person. Buddy said a whole lot, but it's blanket statements like, I like vanilla ice cream. Or simply, I like ice cream. That's real blanket, real. What flavor? Do you like it in with anything else? Is there any accents that you like to like? So to just say, oh, a woman will be a woman around a man. Well, what's a man? Penis? That's it. Because technically, some people around here, look like y'all, but they got penises. So like what is it that makes a man? What is it that makes a woman? So need a little more context involved, like definitions, age. 25-year-old Terrence has a much different requirement than 46-year-old Terrence, because stuff don't do what it used to do when you need to do it. Like I used to hop a fence like that. Now it's like, man, it got to be a way to open this mug around here. Or you know what? I'll just wait. Man. They say don't enter anyway. I ain't even going in there. 25-year-old me, oh, I'm going, man. Whatever's it got to catch me. No, I'm caught. At 46, I'm caught. So, it's more need. It's more needed for that. I know that a lot of times today, it's people want things so fast. Like you all have articulated so well. You're so used to being the independent person. Well, the movies has it where, like Nick had pointed out, Whitney Houston, she exhaled, right? Well, that's great for a movie that's 2 hours long. It has to be like that. But when you're talking about something that's the unknown and longevity is involved, it might take a couple years for you to exhale. It might not be it might just be and you holding your breath because you don't know what's going to come after that. Mm-hmm. So, and like I speak most from my own perspective. Been with my wife for a long time, and it's only now she started to kind of let go on some things that I've been saying. Hey, I got this. You know I could do this, right? Yeah, I know you could do it. Okay, great. Could you let me, please? Just one time. Look, we could do it together, and then eventually, I need you to take your hands off. Is that okay? And there's a compromise in there to eventually get her to ease it off. And then all right, you got it. Bet. Thank you very much. And some people will see that as, he's not a man because he compromised with her. Well, I mean, that's a key facet of any successful relationship, compromise.
Yeah,
So
and I agree. I think definition is very important because, like you said, and that definition sometimes is based on how you were raised, your environment and things like that. I know for me, like if I think of a masculine man, it's not necessarily like, oh, he pays all the bills. I'm somebody like I think a man has his word. Like that's to me, that's important. If you can't keep your word, I'm gonna look at you sideways or I'm not gonna trust you. So to me, a masculine man is a man that, means what he says and does what he says he's gonna do. So that I know has always been something that I've always looked at, which is why I was always attracted to more like assertive men that talked a lot. And sometimes, yeah, I got fooled by the talk, but that always attracted me more because I like a man that know how to talk and speak well, and he's firm and solid in whatever it is he's talking about, and he follows through. It wasn't always necessarily about money, because I think a lot of times that's what it means in today's world. We're just talking about, do he pay all the bills? And like, okay, yeah, that's cool, and I'm would happily let somebody pay all my bills. But to me, I look at more than just that. It's like I look at, are you about something, your integrity, your morals? That's, to me, that's what makes a man, a man. And a woman can have those same exact qualities, but to me, that's somebody that I can look at and respect. That's somebody that I'm gonna, ultimately at some point relinquish control, as you stated.
That sounds like trust too. You got to trust the person.
Right.
I don't trust men. I don't. I don't.
Wait. No.
I mean, Terrence, you're different because it's a different type of context. But I'm talking about in a romantic sense. Generally speaking, I don't. I have a lot of reasons. I ain't even gonna get into all the reasons. There's multiple reasons why, but that's another reason why it's been a little difficult for me, because I take a long time to like truly trust someone, and I ask questions. I'm very curious, and I ask a lot of questions, and a lot of times men don't like to be asked a lot of questions. Like, you act like you're the police. It's like, no, because I just want to know. I'm curious. I want to know because I got to make sure your word is what you say it is.
it gives you a baseline. Yeah. If he says it's up 3 months later, it needs to be up. 4 months later, it needs to be up. 2 years later, it needs to be up because that's his word. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Right. I think the biggest thing that I've learned just through being married, like, is this another tier? A lot of people just are so fascinated with getting a ring, getting the wedding, and they forget that you have to live with this person for the rest of your life. It's I do through the thick and thin. Sometimes you want to punch them in the face, and sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this person. But what I'm learning, and I think just because, again, I think what I mentioned on the podcast before, my husband and I, we go to therapy. Therapy, like for the Black community, we have so many traumas growing up that we don't realize affect our adult life and our relationships. And the biggest thing that I found that we learn to do is sit down and say, what are our expectations? And I think that that's the biggest thing for that gentleman talking on that TikTok. Every relationship is different, and how they decide to set up their household is going to be different. So what you deem as successful, another couple may say that don't work for us. But for my husband and I, we sat down and we said, what is your expectation of a wife? What is my expectation of a husband? And then we listen to each other, and then we say, okay, these are the things that I'm already doing. These are the things that I can do better and lean into. And again, that was one of the things, because of some of my past traumas with men. I had a struggle, and I'm not perfect now, but I'm doing way better. You can ask him. I'm doing way better at, letting him lead, because that's the role. That's what I said I wanted. So why is there a struggle? That's what I said I want. Now that I have someone that is saying, you know what, let me lead, trust in me, that if you trust me to take care of the bills, if you trust me to make sure that you're fed, then why can't you trust me when we're making like financial situations, decisions? Why can't you trust me when I'm saying, hey, this is how to deal with my side of the family, and vice versa? So we're learning to let each other lead in those areas where we say, this is your expertise and I'm gonna follow. And I think that's another thing that people are just not doing in relationships. They're coming in with this expectation that they ain't even talk to the brother about. the guy is like, this is our first date, and she's like, can you pay my bills? Can you pay and he's like, I don't even know your name yet, ma'am. So it's kind of like set the expectations, but you can also do it without it being an interrogation. Because trust me, I did the 2020 questions before too. Hey, I we got about an hour for this dinner. This is where I'm at, blah, blah, blah. And dudes can get intimidated by that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know, I guess it's important too, I guess for me anyway, to think about, well, what is feminine? What does femininity mean? What does that look like for me? Because I never been, because I'm quiet, people always thought I was soft because I just let things happen. I won't say let things happen, but I go with the flow a lot. But I'm not in any way, shape, or form like soft. I don't think that I am. And I've tried to be, but it just doesn't work like that for me. It just
Mm,
takes a certain type of man. And there's only been one that I could think of right away where it was like that. But because he was very assertive and he
mhm,
was very clear, also, that's the other part about his expectations and what he wanted. Hey,
mhm,
I like you. I want to meet your parents. He was very, very clear about it. It took me a little
mhm,
bit longer to sort of come around. But he was very clear about that. So that helped me to like, okay, I can relax a little bit because he know what he talking about. And he want to meet my parents. That's a big thing that a lot of men don't necessarily want to do. I even like, oh no, you might not want to, are you safe? Because that's gonna be the first question. It's a little tough trying to meet them
right.
sometimes, but I can say at least that particular relationship, that was one of the things I was able to like maybe like relax and breathe a little bit. What about you, Felicia? I know it's different for you
Yeah, I
because
want to ask
it's
about
I've
that.
never experienced that. And with me,
Hmm.
I know I'm stubborn, and I know I'm like, who are you talking to? Why are
Hmm.
you trying to tell me what to do? I don't want to do it like that. I want to do it like this, but this way's better. I like my way. Now leave me alone. So it's hard for me just to relax and just let the other person. I have never. I
But
go
is
to
it the
myself.
same? Because we're talking about like men and women with two women, because there's both obviously elements of femininity in there and obviously
Mhm.
masculinity at some point. But how does that,
How do you find
dynamic
balance in your
work?
relationship?
Right. With
Yeah.
two women.
Normally, somebody's going to be more masculine than the other. My last relationship, yes, she was more of the domineering masculine energy. And that's why we bumped heads a lot, on top of other things. But we bumped heads because it's like, I don't want to do what you're telling me to do. Why should I do that? Because you're saying I should do it. And who are you? And it's crazy because we were together for 10 years and you would think that there would be this level of trust and like, okay, she got it. There was certain things, but there was some other things that was like, you know what? I don't really trust you like that. So no, I'm not doing what you think I should be doing in this respect. Um, I really just think you have to know the person you're with,
Mhm.
and that's where a lot of communication comes in. A
Hmm.
lot. And I'm thankful the person I'm with, she really enjoys communicating a lot. And I'm still like, kind of like side eye, like, okay, yeah, a lot of times. And when she's talking, I'm like, yeah, I hear you. But do you hear me? Yeah, I hear you talking.
Hmm.
And I know she gets frustrated with me, but I'm a work in progress.
We
Definitely a work
all
in
are.
progress.
We all
Yeah.
are. I
So,
do have a question for Terrence.
mm,
Um, I don't know if you've seen a lot of things that have been going on in the media with a lot of women's expectations when they are in the dating process, the early process of dating, not in an established relationship. From a male's perspective, oh, I know that you're married, but if you have friends that are single and they may confine in you, what are men feeling and what type of pressures do they feel that necessarily don't think belong in the first settings of getting to know someone?
I do have single male friends who that, like Nick has said, yeah, it's my phone is like, dog, I gotta talk. So yeah, and the first thing I get is it's crazy out here. They like, dude, you inside, stay inside. You don't want to come outside because it's wild out here. Like, for real. I'm like, so you asking for birth certificates and everything, right? He's like, dude, I'm telling you, dog, I'm telling you. So, um, first date type thing. I mean, my close male friends, they've just, we've conversed enough and discussed it enough to understand that those first about maybe 3 months, it's all representation. That's your representative. That's your vote for me. It's Kool-Aid in the water fountains, pizza for lunch every day. I'll rub your feet. I'll comb your hair. You want me to paint this house? I'll paint this house twice a week. It's all the representative. Everybody's bull skating. Like, it's as close as you can get without fully laying down your hand because you don't trust them. It's a game of spades, and the partner that's sat across from you, you literally just met, and you got to trust that y'all got booked together, and both of you are trying to learn each other. And at some point, someone's like, "Nah, cat, you suck," and they leave from the table. So, that whole list of don't go to this restaurants and that, like, what I tell them is this: if they have an opinion, then they should express that opinion. If that opinion of where you should have your first date doesn't meet your budget, be honest about it. Say, I ain't got that. And if that's what you're looking for, if that's a prerequisite just for this date alone, that's an indicator right there. If that's not even a red flag, that's a brick wall. That's a hard stop, because they're setting a precedent for what the rest of that relationship is going to be like. Because you started Ocean Prime, what's next? You ain't going to Waffle House the next day, boss. Talking about you cooking at home? That better be a cowboy ribeye. You better have Gordon Ramsay in there calling somebody a donut or something. Because where do you go from there? Right? So, start with open conversation, because it sets the precedent. Even though it's the representative, at least you're used to talking to each other, having those hard conversations first, fresh out the gate. It's rough, yeah, but I mean, even to use a metaphor, if you're digging for gold, you got to go through some rocks to get that nugget. So, got to do the work. Yeah, your list might be checking. You got some needs, look, first of all, take that off the table. I gotta get it. Dude, you better grab some lotion in the corner. You can get that by yourself. That should not be the prereq. If that's what you're going for, if that's what you're looking for, then don't put the word like real relationship involved. If all you're looking for is that, look, $100 to get you a good time. Like, and I try to be practical and real with it. Nick could tell you, I'm gonna snatch the Band-Aid off person. I'm not going, well, my clients could tell you, I'll tell you, man, that was dumb. Like, did you really think that through? So, that's just, that's the main thing I give them. Be upfront. Let them know I can't afford that. I really want to spend time with you. I like you. I think you're a great person from what I see, but I can't afford that. And can we just have a good time at IHOP right now? And, I'm in the gym. I'm working it out. Eventually, I'm going to have that Steph Curry shot. If they're willing to work through it, great. If it works out, even better. If it don't, all right. But if they're coming out with that, like hard left, turn your phone off, call T-Mobile, change your number. Like, yo, I need to change my number. I gave it out to the wrong person.
Right. Well, sometimes ladies need to also accept that sometimes it's not that they don't have it, but it's not the time for you to receive that. I think things are levels. You earn certain types of prejudices in a relationship. I just don't want to come out and be like, oh, this is my first date and I'm expecting a dude to drop $400 and you don't even know me yet. You don't even know anything about me to say that, hey, I want to invest more in this person. And so I think that that's where, again, the expectations are a bit skewed when people are trying to say that they're getting to know people when they're really not. They're trying to get to know what these dudes' pockets saying. Dudes trying to see what that mouth do. And it's like, no, you don't know each other yet. And then y'all wondering why you're running around with all these problems, not knowing that this guy is attached to 3 other women, and then now you get your car key.
Right.
So you got to really ask those questions. Hey, sir, is there anybody that thinks they go with you? Are you in a relationship? Are you trying to get out of a relationship? Are you married, separated? Can I see the divorce papers? Nobody's asking that. They're just like, girl, he took me to the back. Yeah, and his wife is at your house.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
you got to ask
That's
questions.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
A
that's
good
definitely something I ask is like it. Do you have a girlfriend? No, they pretty much always say no. Okay. Is there some woman out there? If I go up here and tap her on her shoulder and I ask her who you are, she gonna be like, "Yeah, that's my man." And a lot of times, believe it or not, they're honest. They'll be like, "Oh, well, okay, so you do have someone, and you out here trying to be foul or whatever." I appreciate the compliment, but no, thank you. I will move on. But I do have a question for you, Terrence. Somebody, you know me, right? You know me.
sure.
Somebody like me who, as of right now, I'm just choosing not to date. But, when I am ready to get back in there, and I'm quiet and reserved, but I'm very assertive when I need to be. And I'm very clear about what I want, my expectations, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of times I feel like men will say yes because they're attracted to me physically. But then once we start getting in conversation, and then especially if sex gets involved, then that messes everything up. But what do you recommend for somebody like me who's, probably a strong or type A, I guess, personality who's not necessarily going to be the soft, like flirty, feminine woman all the time. And because of that, yeah, it does mean I have way more no's than yeses.
It's about balance, balance yourself, but balance in that relationship, you know. So for someone who is more assertive, you may not necessarily want someone who's just as assertive because at some point it's going to be a lot of this going on. Um, a tool that I teach is soft startups. So maybe you have someone who naturally um, has a soft startup. Just, hey, I was wondering, and I was thinking the other day about what if instead of wearing sandals so much, maybe you wear some heels? Is that okay? That's a simple stuff. Rather than saying, hey, next time I need you in some heels. Well, what if your feet hurt? Right? So a soft startup helps. And if they do it naturally, then that will help your communication a little bit better. And then those times when you are in the softer mode, you're kind of meeting them there, and that gives them a chance to kind of step it up. Um, you may just get more no's. No's ain't necessarily bad. No can be your best friend. I done got plenty of no's, and I look back and be like, my dog, no. Oh, that's my dog right there. Like,
Yeah.
we want that yes, but we need that no.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm too quick to say no because nobody's perfect. Like I remember I was having a conversation. Me and my dad, we don't talk about dating that much, but a few times we have, he's just like, Nika, everybody is not perfect. Sometimes you have to, and I'm just like, listen, I don't have we talked about this before, some of the endurance that I consider endurance that I feel like some women have. I used to, but I feel like that was beat and kicked out of me to a point where now it's just like my nose be so quick. The minute I detect something that it's off, like I'm good. Like I'm all the way good. So sometimes I wonder, like, am I being too hard? Do I need it? Felicia said no. Because
Well,
Felicia
you
knows
gotta
some of my
understand
personal
too.
business.
Wait a minute.
You're in a different life cycle than a lot of people are. You're experiencing things that you have legitimately no control over. It just is.
Perimenopause. Perimenopause.
And yeah, I don't want to disclose your business, but yeah,
Perimenopause, people.
Like
It's
I'm
here.
hot right now. Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too.
She's you too?
I'm sweating
Girl.
right now.
Yeah.
yeah. So for where your mind is now, even as a man, like as a therapist, as a man, as a father, as a husband, I consider myself a semi-intelligent person. I could do all the research that Google and WebMD and all of them have, and still not understand a lick of what y'all going through because it's different for each of y'all. And so where you are mentally, that guy has to be able to, or anybody around you just has to be able to accept that, right? Because that's just where you are. time helps. And, you know, it's about your outcomes. Like what's your desired outcome when you date? And if you want to start with yourself, what's your desired outcome? Like if you're happy with yourself, okay. But if you're happy with yourself, but you're not happy with the results you're getting, then something has to change somewhere. Now, you know, if you feel like ain't nothing wrong with me, but you can't keep nobody past a week, but you want to get married, the math ain't mathing. So clearly you may have to have some hard conversations. I got an open week, you know, hook me up like, hey, T, I need to, you know, whatever. And we can unpack stuff because we carry, you know, we go through life with our life backpack and we throw all our experiences in that life backpack, traumas and everything. And sometimes we're wondering why, you know, why it's just so, we've got a bunch of little pebbles. We overlook them, looking for them big boulders. Oh, look what I got. I'm gonna get rid of this trauma. But it's still heavy because you still got, you know, all y'all lift in some way. You still got a bunch of little 5-pound dumbbells in there, wondering why nothing fits, nothing works, nothing's right, and your back hurts. Well, let's look at those. You may have to have a hard conversation with yourself in the mirror or whatever of, is it me? And then if it is me, what is it about me? You know, and just, you know, even ask, like, would I date me? And if not, why? What is it about me that I don't like?
That really hurt my feelings. So thank you for that. I
Hell no.
I feel a little pain in my chest.
Bone in the corner now.
Because would I date me? I would date me. However, I also know me. You know what I'm saying? Like I know how I can be, which is another reason why I choose to like separate myself from people quickly so that I don't part of it is trauma, maybe removing myself before they can hurt me type of thing. But also I know my mouth. And so it's like, Nikhil, you better exit stage left because you about to go there. So especially just
well, your mouth could be a defense mechanism. You know, you've experienced so many traumas that your brain starts firing off signals. You know, red alert, red alert, red alert, and it might not even be a malicious type of approach, but it's too close, and it's like if your arm is sore, the minute someone walks by you, you're doing this. They ain't even finna touch you, but they're close enough, and your mind is so conscious, so aware of your arm being sore that you don't want anything there. And so you chuck in a douche. If someone brushes your sleeve, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I didn't know, because they don't know, right? So, your mouth, your brain will sense that you're kind of, you know, or in the orbit of the date. You're kind of getting too close or getting to a certain spot. He may wear a cologne. He may wear a tie that way back in, you know, 85, I dated him and he wore that tie. Buddy just wore a tie that he liked. He thought it looked nice. He's trying to look nice for you. But because that tie triggers something, you're flooded now. And now that lizard brain kicks in, fight, flight, or freeze. Well, I'm gonna pop off. Or, you know what, let me leave before I pop off because I don't want him getting close because he's going to do what the other guy did, whether he's going to do it or not. But your brain, our brains are set up in a way to protect us from harm. And so any little thing that looks like it could be harmful, we're on, you know, we're raised with anxiety, wondering why our kids are so angry. Hey, if you cross the street, you're going to die. Not really. Not really. But if we don't process that anxiety that we're raised with, that fear, then we keep it in our bag, and wondering why we, you know, so triggered by everything. And you know, I still can't sit in a room and not look around. So it might be something that you have to process where it doesn't have such a heightened response, where your brain isn't like, all right, lockdown, you know. It might be something where it could be just a conversation like, hey, I noticed this and this and this and this, or even just seeing it through, just, you know, a little breathing technique or something just to calm down and let's just see. Have your exit. Like, okay, if this goes south, I'm out. If this happens, kind of thing. And wait and see, because we don't know. Like 5 minutes from now, this whole office, because I'm at my office right now, this whole office could be swallowed in a sinkhole, Lord forbid. But I don't know.
Right.
I gotta wait 5 minutes to see, right? So it might be something that your brain recognizes on a subconscious level that may have happened before. And anything in your life, it didn't have to be in a relationship. It could be while you were at school. Somebody said, ooh, Nick had got them glasses on, so you never wear glasses again. It's the minute someone says, hey, those glasses, boom, you're triggered because, oh, you got laughed at in the third grade about your glasses. And so now you're on defense. They got you even touched them. Now, now you're on defense about anything talking about the glasses, but you got to see because, everybody ain't ready for contact. So work on those little traumas because we'll find if we dig deep enough, those little traumas are connected to bigger traumas. And we can't remove that, unless I hop in a DeLorean and say, hey, no, don't talk to this guy or don't do this thing, right? So we can't remove the event. Only thing we could do is address today how we respond to the event. And going forward, if we see things that look like it, work your way through your process. Because it might be, you might have just met the Superman dressed like Clark Kent, but he, it was raining that day. So he's in a coat and a hat and you walked right by him and maybe you spoke to him, but because he said something, no, not him, work on smaller things and just reduce the response to it. Learn to slow time down a little bit in your own mind. Make sense?
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. I feel like for whatever reason, I can do what you're saying in other situations that don't involve romance. Like I had something where I was having a discussion with somebody and what he was telling me, there was nothing wrong with it, but I was feeling triggered, like getting angry or like very upset. And I couldn't figure out why. So I didn't respond. He could tell from my face that something was wrong, but I didn't respond right away. I had to give myself a few minutes, like an hour, and then I called him like, okay, so this is why I'm feeling this way. And it wasn't, romantic. It was something completely different. But for romantic type situations, for some reason, I really struggle with doing that. My, MO is just to exit stage left and go
Because
isolate.
that's when we're most vulnerable. We're most vulnerable in a romantic situation. That's the one time you're, metaphorically close off, shields down, and you're openly expressing your affection for someone else, hoping that they reciprocate by, hey, I feel the same way you do. And then validate it through time with their actions and other further validations like, hey, I really love you a lot. Oh man, I like how you got on that house dress. That's the baddest house dress in America right now. And you feel like crap. You got zit cream on, you just woke up, your breath smell like horse feet. But he's gonna say, ooh, your partner's gonna be like, ooh, come give me a kiss. And things that you're self-conscious of. Again, no one can read each other's mind. So I don't know you're self-conscious of it. I just want to eat you up, right? That's when we're most vulnerable in those relationships. And when you let your shield down and you're expecting someone to caress you and they poke you instead, that pain hurts more than anyone. Someone could walk up and punch me in my face right now. I'll bounce back, right? But if I go home and again, I've been married long time, right? And I put on something that I think is fly. And my wife, and I say, how I look, and she goes, I'm hurt. I'm crushed. I'm like, well, what you think over an outfit, right? Because my guard was down. I'm asking her for the truth. Now, of course, my wife wouldn't give me a She's learned, how to communicate with me through time. But again, that took time because at first it was I know you ain't wearing that with me. That was what I got at first, and it was like, oh shit, I ain't got nothing. We gotta hit the stove. you know, and so the when it comes to relationships, I got real long-winded on y'all, my bad.
That's
When,
fine.
when it comes to relationships, we are more guarded. We are more sensitive because that's our feels. That's our emotions. The one thing that can go either way, and now we have to deal with it. You know, you can control whether you go to your car. You can control what you wear. You can control what you eat. Your emotions, you learn to control them, sort of, because you're pissed off. And then you calm down and say, no, I'm calm. No, but you're initially pissed off. Like you respond. There's a instant. And now you have to choose your emotion, right? That's another thing I teach my clients. Don't say someone made you mad or they made you angry. They made you this, because I can't make any of y'all anything. There's a veritable cornucopia of emotions above your head, and you choose anger as a response, or your brain chooses anger as a response to this event. So what if you don't choose anger? What if you say, remove happy, mad, sad from your vocabulary and process where you are when the event happens? Like, again, freeze time. Boom. This is what I'm feeling right here. Where's that? All right. Now what am I going to do with this emotion? And try to, so in relationships, you have to do that, because knee-jerk responses, like you say, buddy said something, you was like, no, I know my mouth, I gotta go. You chose that, and with that emotion in your hand, you said it's best for me to leave because this is the wrong one. But what if you eliminate that emotion? Never use that emotion ever again. Not that it's not a part of you, but it's been overused. It got your fingerprints on it. You know how, like the F key on your keyboard. You always use F and S. They smudged out. Yeah, look at y'all looking at y'all keyboard right now.
I know I was.
I wanted to look over at my work one real quick.
Yeah.
Like, is it?
Y'all like, but like most people, S is the most used letter in the alphabet. So it's the most rubbed off. It's overused. Now, can you not use S? No. It's a valuable letter. But you don't bang that one as much because it's been worn. So you may use another word. Instead of saying super, you might say extra. S and that.
Right.
So now you've expanded your vocabulary because you've murdered your S button. So now you got to use these, synonyms.
So find my synonyms. Okay.
Yeah, find your emotional synonym. Yeah. And slow the time down. Freeze it if you have to. Even if you got to say, hold on, man, let me give me a moment. And then if you need clarification, hey, you just said, or you just did, I feel this about that. Is that really what you meant? Give them time to, get a person time to be like, no, I didn't mean to do that. And then of course, time's going to tell the truth, whether or not they're lying or not.
I think you're doing the best thing about, like, even when I was single and I have single friends, I'm like, that's the best time, because you have time to sit with yourself. You already are in therapy, so you're getting to learn more and more about yourself and your traumas and your triggers. And even, like I said, even though my husband and I do marriage counseling, we also do individual counseling, because there's a lot of things, like I said before, I walked in here thinking that, I got this, that, and then I'm over here saying, why am I really upset about this? But through therapy and learning how to address certain situations that I know may be triggering, I start to learn my husband. Did he have a hard day? So if he had a hard day, and I know this is a conversation that can wait, how can we have a more effective conversation versus me saying, now let me dump this on your head and this, that, and you ain't do this and you ain't do that. I'm learning how to address those situations. When I want him to do more of something, we're a unit, two become one. You leave your parents' house as you become one. What I'm learning now, when I want him to do something and encourage him to do something more, I don't use you should. I say, hey, babe, I think we should try this way. What do you think? Because sometimes men have issues with just hearing what they're doing wrong, even though you're not even saying that you do everything wrong. But when you come to with one or two things, then I'm like, dang, I ain't doing this right and doing it. And then they retract back They already haven't learned from childhood how to share their emotions. So now you're dealing with, now I gotta pride, now I gotta, coast the ego. I gotta do all this other stuff. But then when you learn, hey, I have to make my, I have to make myself a safe space for my man. And that's one of the things that I'm learning in this marriage is if I shut him down every time he comes to me with how he feels about something that I've done, and my response is, well, you don't do this either. I totally just dispelled anything that in his vulnerable moment that it didn't matter because now I'm saying what you didn't do for me. But if I can listen and say, you know what, this is not the time, even though I may have some stuff that I want to share, I said, okay, first thing I have to do and what I've learned and when I talk to other family members, validate his feelings first. I validate what you're saying and I hear that you're telling me X, Y, and Z. Is that correct? And he says, yeah. Then I say, how can I address this differently so that we don't end up in the same space? That is something I've never done in any relationship before. Because guess what? We didn't get to that space where I felt so in love and felt that this person was worth it. But when you're married, you click, click, you're locked in. So I need to learn this person. Each day you learn something new. And I'm learning more about how to just express myself. When I get so upset about something, I have to sit there and take it back. And I was like, what is the root cause of my anger? Is it really that I told him to put this on this shelf and he put it back on another shelf? Or is it really because I've had issues with people not respecting my space and where I put my personal things? And then I have to sit there and I think about it. And I'm like, this is not the real reason why I'm angry. I just allowed my emotions to pile up on little other things. And now he just happened to be a person of displaced anger. Sometimes we have to acknowledge that. And other times I'm like, okay, he did a bunch of things that I didn't say anything about. So can I fault him because I didn't discuss it with him? So I have to sit down in those feelings. So I think that you understanding and saying, like, you know what, I'm not going to date right now because I know whatever. Sometimes you need to sit down and think with yourself and say, is it really that serious? Or you can sit down and say, you know what? I'm going to process this. I'm going to come back to this person and say, you know what? When you said this one comment, this is how it made me feel. And like you said, I don't know if you were coming from that angle. And that person can justify and say, no, that really wasn't it. And you're like, all right, I almost threw this man away over something that wasn't really what it was. And sometimes that patience and you bringing down that barrier, like you said, you don't trust men. So I think that's the biggest thing is learning how to also trust yourself in your judgment. And then slowly but surely, once people prove to you that they deserve to be in your space, that I think that they'll be able to chip at that wall as well. But girl, everybody's a work in progress. And I applaud you for doing what you're doing. Like I said, everyone looking at me, ooh, couple goals. I don't hashtag goals me. I because everybody see what they see on social, and it's like all the good little, oh, we traveling, we kicking this and that, but we have really hard conversations here. Hard conversations. We cry, we express what we say, and that the only thing that makes it a good relationship is the fact that we're both willing to work on ourselves and our marriage together, and we're not trying to walk apart. And I think that's the only thing that makes it healthy. So the only thing that I would have done for myself personally earlier is seek therapy. And when I'm dating people, actually ask them, are they on their healing journey as well? That's the only thing that I would do differently for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. My questions, definitely have changed a little bit from what they used to be. Especially at, again, this age, 41, you usually don't have to ask a 40-something-year-old man, can he take care of himself? It's very rare that you're going to run across your face. At least in my experience, I have not, at least not as of late, run across any man that was, what I would consider like a bum. Like they was doing well for themselves. They take care of their own stuff. So that was never like a thing. So a lot of the, how you deal with trauma, how do you deal with anger? Those types of questions are, more so the ones that I ask. And I'm an observer too. So even if I'm not asking, I'm watching, I'm listening, which is why I don't like someone that someone's trying to hook me up with. And we texted back and forth and I told him, like, I need you to call me so I can hear your voice. Cause that's how I learn people is by like verbal cues, tones, and then of course in person, body language and stuff. So that's why I don't like a lot of texting back and forth, because if I think, perspective is everything. If I think you don't like me, if you say hello, in my mind, I'm hearing it as hello. even though you just saying hello. But because I think you don't like me now, why he saying it like that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I like the, face-to-face verbal, type of communication versus texting. I don't like a whole bunch of texting back and forth. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, my questions definitely have changed, are changing. And yeah, I'm choosing to just take this time, by myself. Because I really, even though I sound pessimistic a lot of times, last year we talked about a year of clarity. This
Mm-hmm.
year, and I feel good every year, honestly, every year for me. Real talk has gotten better. I have literally don't really have any complaints. But when it comes to that, I sort of kind of, romantic life is just like, it's whatever. I don't really focus on that like I focus on other things. So
Why do
this
you
I
like
am.
to fight? Why do you like to fight, Nike? Let the man
It's
be.
not that I'm fighting. It's just they provoke me, okay? They provoke me, and then I have to, anyway. Yeah, and it's just, I don't like to fight. I don't like to be angry. I'm a
I
real
know.
lovable, chill type of person. So if I feel like and someone actually said like, "Oh, I want you to cuss me out and stuff like that." To me is a turnoff. Like,
That's
why?
not
I'm
good.
not that person. And
Yeah.
his response was, well, that's how I know you like me. And I kind of get it because I always say, excuse my language, men like bitches for whatever reason they like that crazy stuff. Not all, obviously, but some. But I'm not also not going to be that woman that's like all the time. That's not me. Like I'm one of the most chill people you'll ever meet. When you come to my house, especially if my little one isn't here, it's dead silent. Like
Mm.
this is a relaxed, peaceful home. You're not going to get a lot of drama and all that type of thing. So that kind of is just like, I'm not that woman, so I need somebody that's gonna, okay with being at peace with me. And
Maybe
know
it's
that if
okay.
I'm not talking, it's not because I have a problem with you. I'm just choosing not to talk right now. I don't have anything to say.
Mhm.
So
Well,
definitely a work
people
in
don't like
progress.
silence.
Yeah.
People, people don't like that. That's why it's called the awkward silence. So awkwardly silent.
Mhm.
Just can't be in each other's space. It's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because at any moment, one of y'all could just get up and walk off. So the fact that they're choosing to just be, man, let them be. Get
Yeah.
comfortable too. Hell, if
That's
you
that's
doze
Snuggle
right.
off,
up.
man.
Some
You know what I mean?
some place or
Just
someone where I can just be and they can just be.
Mhm.
And we could just be together, talking or not, partying or not, we can just be. Because I just want to be 100% authentically myself, and I want them
Mhm.
to do the same.
you've earned that.
It's coming.
It is. I feel very optimistic. Like I'm actually
You
happy,
should
even though
be.
I'm choosing not to date right now, but I still feel like optimistic and
Yeah,
happy.
because I will
Like,
be spraying at the wedding. I will be there.
ah.
Hey.
And I'm definitely doing the Nigerian traditional because I need the dollars. Throw me the
Mhm.
dollars. We need the dollars.
Okay, come and bless my home, Sha.
Uh-huh. All right, y'all. So we're gonna wrap it up. Any last words, last comments before we
No,
wrap it up?
do
All
your
right.
work on yourself while you looking for someone. Always understand that everyone has the room to grow and learn about themselves as they're learning and growing with someone else. And I really appreciate Terrence bringing the male perspective on the show today. So thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you. Everything she said.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you
Man,
so much, Terrence. We're gonna put, of course, all of our socials up here. Terrence. Just we gotta make sure we y'all know how to find Terrence because he is a therapist. And like I said, y'all, I can vouch for him. He know what he doing. He gonna make sure he gets to the root of the problem. Okay.
Mhm.
So he is a counselor therapist at 360 counseling 360 counseling, which is in Clearwater, Florida. You can look them up. You can schedule an appointment with him. Terrence Lewis, you'll see him in his blue suit looking, debonair, and go ahead and get you some help. You know what I'm saying? Get you some help.
I clean up
And
good. Yeah.
and I think it's very important, especially I know both of you, Felicia and you today mentioned for Black people, it was kind of like something we don't do before. But he is a therapist. He is a Black man, a strong, good Black man. So you can go get you some good advice. All right. All right, y'all. So that is all we have for today. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.